Robert, Manchester United obviously finally got a win in the Premier League. These are going to be the five big takeaways we learn from Manchester United result against Chelsea. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is we finally have a win in the Premier League. It's been, well, obviously we won against Burnley, but this was a more comfortable win. And I think with Manchester United, a win always gives us a lot of confidence and positivity. And the biggest thing that Ruben Amorim talked about post-game was using this to build momentum. And that's ultimately something Manchester United need to do. It's all good winning one game, but we need to turn this into 2, 3 games and get on a run. And I think that's something that United haven't been good enough doing so far this season. We've had decent performances, but again, we haven't got the result. And yes, did Manchester United make it easy for themselves? No, we didn't, and it should have been a much more comfortable result. But I think in the conditions and the game, and how it was, kind of the situations going on in the game, I think we developed well, adapted well, and I think yes, we could have had 3 or 4 goals. I think we should have scored. We had 3-on-1 situations a few times, which I thought we could have done better. But ultimately, we got the win, and that's one of the most important things. I think as a team, again, there were some interesting decisions there. I think Ruben Amorim kind of went for. I think starting Luke Shaw after that City performance was interesting. Benching Euro, again, was interesting, but it did kind of work out. I think the midfield, again, Casemiro is now suspended for the next game against Brentford, so that probably means Ugarte comes in. But again, I think overall it was a pretty good team performance and a win in the Premier League. Hopefully we can build some momentum. And look at it, 7 points from, I think I saw Rio saying this, 7 points, and in our first 5 games we have played Chelsea, City and Arsenal. To get 7 points, again, I think we could have had more against Fulham. We could have got 3 points against Fulham, but the fact that we played 3 big teams, 3 out of the traditional top 6, we have, 3 points out of 9, again, isn't great, but still, I think a win is a win against Chelsea, and I think we deserved it. And number 2, Matthias de Ligt was a beast. I think his performance yesterday is fantastic. He's the only defender, I think, out of the 3 that I've played, to play every single minute in the Premier League so far. Yoro, Maguire, sure, they've all come off in games, and I think de Ligt is the one constant. Whether that's playing right centre-back, central centre-back, he always seems to have a big impact on the game. I think yesterday he had a very, very good game. He was colossal on the ball. He started off the game very, very well as well. And I think one thing that I've noticed about de Ligt is his aggression, but he's a very good player on the ball. And I think at the start when he first came in, we saw that. But again, I think we've seen it now more as the season's gone on. Again, the fact that he plays in every game shows that he is someone who is trusted by Ruben Amorim in that central centre-back or in that right centre-back position. And I think when he needs to be physical, whether that's, I thought he had a good game against Gyökeres, he had an alright game, going 1v1 against Haaland in the air, which is something he's good at, and he made some very, very good tackles. So yeah, I thought that it was very, very good. He's had some good games so far for United as well. Number 3, Bruno. I think Bruno, someone's impact on the team you have to talk about. It was his 100th goal in 200 Premier League games for Manchester United. He's had some great moments in the United ship, and Ruben Amorim talked about how that goal did come from him being as a midfielder. And I think that's something that Ruben Amorim's always going to allude to. I think it was a good goal, it was a great run, great crossing from Mazraoui, who had a big part to play in both the goals. But yeah, listen, it's always good to see Bruno get on the score sheet, and I think it's also important to see him get this momentum. We know, again, I think Amorim is trying to find the perfect partner for Bruno Fernandes in midfield. I mean, Bruno came off, which was a surprise. But ultimately, Manchester United got a win, and Bruno Fernandes was kind of an important part of that. I think some of the runs that he went on, the way that he brought the ball was fantastic. And yeah, I think he had a very, very good performance. Now, the next thing, just the impact from subs. Yes, I didn't agree with the starting 11. I agreed with most of the subs Ruben Amorim made. I think getting Cunha on for the last 25 was good. Getting some minutes into his legs, the return of Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo came on towards the end as well, Maguire came on. But I think the subs are interesting because Ruben Amorim has usually been criticised for these subs, and I think you look on the other bench with Enzo Maresca, the subs that he made, he was quite erratic and reacted to the red card by making that many subs. I think you look at what we need to do, we need to be much more careful. But again, all in all, the subs I thought were very, very good. Now, the 5th and final thing, we have to use this momentum. I think as I said, the players talked about going into the game having to win, and yes, as I said, the conditions in the game were different. Both coming down to 10 men. I think it would have been a totally different game, obviously, but if it was 11v11, and I think United, we never know, but I think they would have done enough to win the game. I thought we started off intensely, but again, the next few games, I think is our next few games. I know Brentford's next week, then after that we have Sunderland, and then we go to the international break. So 2 games there who I think, listen, Brentford, they haven't had the greatest start to the season. I think they lost yesterday against Fulham. Or did they beat Fulham? No, they got beat 3-1 by Fulham. Against Sunderland. Then we come back after international break. We've got Liverpool, Brighton. So listen, some tough games coming up, but I certainly think the next 2 against Brentford, against Sunderland, are points there that United can definitely get. I think with the performances that we see, and hopefully we get Bruno into some more form, we get Cunha back, and Mbeumo Sesko start scoring goals. I think we will look like a much better team. But listen, 5 big takeaways. I think the most important thing was the result. The performance was probably not one of our greatest, but it was still there. I think defensively we were good, offensively as well. And yeah, ultimately it was a good, dominant performance by United to get the win. I thought the red cards obviously massively changed that, affected the game, but ultimately we did have a good performance.